correctly care for a plant, one needs to know what is the origin of that plant or native of that plant. For example, this plant is native to tropical rainforest. Tropical means that it would like warm climate. Rainforest means that it would like humidity and moist soil. Rainforest also means that there is a lot of organic matter in the soil. Why? Because in a rainforest there are lots of plants, which means there's a lot of litter, and when there's a lot of litter, that means there's a lot of nutrients in the soil. So this basically translates that this plant will also be a heavy feeder. Another typical thing about a tropical rainforest is that the canopy cover is really high. There are lots of trees. So plants like these take the support of those trees through their aerial roots, these roots, and they try to climb up that tree, reaching for more light. This means that Monstera would need some support, and it would also like some indirect light, neither too much exposure to the sun nor too less or dark spaces. Now when you process all this information and you're like, okay Ekta, so tell me how to care for my Monstera in my house, which is of course not a tropical rainforest. Light should be indirect or medium light, something like next to a window. The second thing is humidity. Now in Bombay, for example, the humidity is about 30 to 50% for most of the days. Of course in June, July it goes up to 95% and more because it rains so much. So a quick Google search can help you understand what is the kind of humidity in your place, and this plant likes good humidity around it. It also likes moist soil. Water whenever the top layer of the soil seems dry, like this. You touch the soil, and I always tell this in my videos, touch the soil. If it doesn't stick to your finger, add water. For the soil, I use a combination of coco peat, fertilizer which is compost, and some regular garden soil, all three of them in equal proportion. Now additionally, when you look at this plant, you will realize that the leaves are really broad. That means that there is a lot of surface area for the dust to settle. In the wild condition, like in a rainforest, of course this dirt will get cleaned up because of the regular rain, but in a house, in our space, that doesn't happen. So you should ensure that these leaves are regularly clean. I actually also add lemon sometimes in the water. In order to propagate it, meaning to make more babies out of it, take a cutting. Choose a stem that has an aerial root coming out of it. This tiny root will develop more roots, actually a bunch of roots, when it is put in water. For the roots to develop, it takes about 10 to 15 days, and you can see in this plant that from this one aerial root, there's a big bunch coming out. And I'm going to pot this plant in soil. This is the spot that I had made a cut for the cutting, and just underneath it you see new growth. For most indoor plants, I highly recommend continuously pruning them. Whenever you chop them off, you can of course use that to grow more cuttings, and this regular pruning or regular chopping of the plant, it's a little harsh word, but this kind of helps with better growth of the plant. Here I would also like to point out that if you look closely at this plant, that cut design, a typical design that you see on this Monstera, is not so evident here. And the reason is that it is a young plant, meaning that when it was started from a seed, the age of this plant is relatively lesser compared to this plant. Monstera deliciosa, as well as the other kinds of Monstera, are used to growing on trees. They take support and also some food from that tree. Since in a house, you might not have a luxury of a tree, In that case, you can use a moss stick or just a simple stick for support. Quickly speaking about the problems you may face with this plant. If it's yellowing and browning and it's dry, then it's underwatering. But if it's just yellowing and the leaf does not look dry or droopy, most likely it's overwatering. In my videos, you would often see me using terms like perhaps, most likely. Why do I use them? Because yellowing of leaves is a symptom. Just like fever in humans, the underlying cause could be any kind of infection. Likewise in plants, the underlying cause could be any kind of stress, which may be water related or insect related. This brings me to the second problem that you may face with your Monstera: insects. Actually, that's not very common. If you continuously keep cleaning the leaves, you will not have an insect problem. But if you do see some kinds of spider mites or any kind of insect, use a neem oil solution. I've actually done detailed video on how to treat different kinds of insects on your plants, both indoor and outdoor plants. You can check out that video. The other problem, actually the problem is not with the plant, but it's about the prices of this plant. I know that Monstera is kind of an expensive plant. My recommendation is that keep an eye out for cuttings. So if you're visiting somewhere, a friend, somebody in your family, or even a hotel or a restaurant, I actually got a couple of cuttings from my husband's office, outside his office. But yes, because it's an expensive plant, keep an eye out wherever you can get a cutting. Try to get a cutting, propagate it. And actually this plant can also be grown from seeds. However, I feel it's slightly difficult, so I'm not recommending that method. Good luck for your Monstera. And those of you who've been asking me about the watering cans that you keep seeing on my videos, they're available on our Garden Up store. You can check them out by visiting the link under this video. I will see you very soon. I know I've been very infrequent. I think this is a video coming out in 2 months, but I'll try to be more frequent because April is coming in, and those of you who've been following me for a couple of years now, you know that April is a good time to start your vegetable garden. I will keep you updated on that. Take care.
Take me out to California. I feel the day is coming to an end, and my eyes are drawn to southern skies. And all the while I was trying to pretend